What's up, everybody? Long time no see. I know it's been literally forever since I've been able to sit down and record a video. So much has been happening. My external hard drive decided to stop working on me, so I was unable to record and edit videos without any extra storage space. My husband and I went on that weekend cruise, and I intended to film as soon as I came back. I know it's been like 6 or 7 weeks since I've actually updated on my pregnancy. I intentionally wanted to wait a little while between my videos, just like I did before, between my last two, just so that I can include some more information, because I did have a dermatologist appointment the day before we left for our cruise, and I wanted to be able to include that information in this video. But it seems like once we got back from vacation, for whatever reason, this video kept being put off longer and longer. It's not because something has gone wrong. This pregnancy is still very healthy and just chugging right along. So I apologize for it being such a huge time gap, but let's go ahead and get into my pregnancy update. So today is May 31st. I'm officially 24 weeks and 5 days pregnant. So the baby is about the size of an eggplant. She should be anywhere between like 12 and 13 inches long and about 1.5 pounds. She seems huge. I literally feel gigantic for only being about 6 months pregnant, and I know that's mostly because this is my second baby, and you know, I've been through this rodeo before, and your second baby always makes you feel bigger. But just with that feeling, I can't imagine what it's going to be like over the next few months until I deliver in September. Like, if I'm already feeling like a whale, I can't imagine actually being big. I don't know. But we are officially in month 6, and up until this point, it's really felt like it's been going by fast. However, now that I'm getting bigger and it's getting so hot outside, I think the rumor is that this is going to be like the hottest summer we've had in like 5 or 10 years or something ridiculous. Now it's just really felt like it's slowing down quite a bit. So not only is it so hot, I feel huge, I can't breathe. I just feel like the next 3 months are going to feel like they're taking forever. Let's go ahead and touch on my symptoms. So I'm not really experiencing too much. The nausea and the headaches are finally officially a thing of the past, but I am now experiencing major daily heartburn. I did have like 1 or 2 instances of heartburn when I was pregnant with Aubrey, like very minimal. So it's really hard this pregnancy because I literally get it every single day. And I know I've touched on this a little bit even in my really early videos that I was having heartburn. I think that was actually even one of the symptoms before I officially knew that I was pregnant, was heartburn. And I know I've also said that a lot of my major cravings are like spicy foods or spicy chicken sandwiches and things like that. But I don't actually eat a whole bunch of spicy foods. I don't even eat a whole lot of like red sauce with pasta or anything like that. But no matter what I eat or how frequently I eat or how little I eat, the heartburn is daily and it is awful. It mostly hits me later in the afternoon, and about 100% of the time I have it at night. I try to stay in a sitting position as long as I can all throughout the day and before bed. I don't even really eat late. I think the latest that we eat is like 7:30, 8 o'clock, and I don't even go to bed until like midnight, so I don't think that's an issue. Tums was not working for me. Anything dairy makes it worse, so anything that a lot of people were suggesting wasn't really helping me. So at my last midwife appointment, which was this past Tuesday, I mentioned it to her, and she suggested that I try over-the-counter Zantac, just regular strength. And the one that I found is like 1 tablet for 24-hour relief. And let me tell you, I was a skeptic because of how little the Tums helped me, but the second I took the Zantac, I swear the heartburn was gone, and it really does carry me over 24 hours. So I will say though that the first couple of times I took the Zantac, it literally felt like it covered me for a whole 48 hours, just 1 tablet. But now I feel like I need to take it every day, and I don't think that's because like I've already gotten used to it, because it's literally only been like a week. But I think it's just because the bigger the baby gets and her positioning is just making it really hard to avoid having heartburn or acid reflux. So I am taking it every day. I pretty much take it every single night right before I go to bed, because that's when it hits me the most. And as long as I'm not exceeding 2 tablets in a 24-hour period, it's perfectly safe for my pregnancy. But I just need to say thank God for Zantac, because everybody was just swearing by Tums and how well they work. My husband has really bad heartburn on occasion, and he, you know, takes those Tums chewable tablets, and he says they work instantly for him, but it was no match for my heartburn. So I'm really happy to say that even though I was struggling with that for quite a while, I finally have a handle on it. The next major symptom that I'm having is trouble breathing. I don't know if you can tell that literally just sitting down and talking to the camera has me out of breath, but this is also something that I don't remember at all experiencing when I was pregnant with Aubrey. Even when I was like about to deliver and I went a couple of days overdue with her, I don't ever remember feeling like I could not fill my lungs with air all the way. It's an extremely uncomfortable feeling because it's like a lot of pressure on my chest. Like it feels like I'm kind of being suffocated. Occasionally it makes me really dizzy, and because of it, I'm having a lot of trouble like keeping up with things around the house. My daughter Aubrey is in this super fun stage where her favorite thing to do is like grab her toy bins and dump everything out on the ground. And because I can't breathe, it's really hard to like go around and pick up all of her toys. I try to keep the house as clean as possible, and I had started to get into a really good habit of it because, as you know, like especially with the name of my channel, Excuse the Mess, that represents our life. It's just mostly messy. This house is very much lived in. But now that I literally feel like I just can't breathe 100% of the time, it is so hard to keep up with everything, and it's really, really hard to get down and play with her. And just add in the heat that's coming in for this summer, it's very, very uncomfortable. I did mention this to my midwife, and I think that she kind of misunderstood me when I told her that it was making me dizzy, and she took that as like an iron deficiency issue. So she also suggested that I take iron supplements that I actually got straight from her office, that they also give me energy, and I don't really feel like I need energy. Fatigue is kind of not something that's bothering me at this point. So I did accept the supplements from her, but I took them once and I felt no different. It obviously didn't help with my breathing issues, so I decided not to take them because, as you guys know, I hate taking pills, so I'm not just going to force myself to take a supplement that I don't feel like I need. Not to mention the fact that the pills are like, I don't know, this big, super obnoxious. So, and I think you have to take like 3 a day. I'm not doing that. But like I said, I think it's just like where the baby's at this time. Aubrey was low pretty much my entire pregnancy and in the perfect position, and she was very dormant. She hardly ever moved, but this baby moves constantly. And I think she's just way higher up this time for whatever reason. So I'm hoping that once I get one of those big exercise like birth balls that I can just like sit on and sort of get her to go lower down into like my pelvic bone, that will help relieve some of the pressure on my lungs and I can finally get some air. But that's another thing that's really been bothering me, and it's not really like it's annoying, it's just really uncomfortable. Like no matter what position I'm laying or sitting in, or even when I'm standing up, I just get out of breath, and that's such an uncomfortable feeling. The last major thing that I've really noticed, especially in the last week or two, is how much my appetite has increased. I really do get hungry like every hour or two. I don't necessarily eat every hour or two. I don't really snack a lot throughout the day. I'm still basically just eating 3 meals a day. They're not always necessarily the most nutritious, but at this point I'm trying not to worry about, you know, my weight too much, because obviously I can't just like go on a rigorous diet when I'm 6, almost 7 months pregnant. But I try to not go way overboard, but if I'm hungry, I'm just gonna eat. If I'm craving something, I'm just gonna get it. This is my last pregnancy, and there will always be time later on down the road to get on the treadmill and to eat a salad. But as of right now, I'm just kind of catering to whatever my appetite is. But because I'm out of breath, I'm not really exercising, so that's a problem. And both of those things combined are leading to my increased weight gain, which is something I hate talking about, but I want to be as candid as possible. So when I started this pregnancy, I was about 160, which was also my pre-pregnancy weight when I got pregnant with Aubrey. Although this time around when I got pregnant, the 160 was kind of sitting on my body differently than it was before. It was a lot less muscle tone and more just like mom bod type of thing. And at this point, I am up to 180. So I would say I've gained anywhere between like 20 and 22 pounds this pregnancy. And I haven't checked any charts because I don't want to know if I'm ahead, which I know I'm probably ahead of like how much weight you're supposed to gain at a certain point. But I don't want to check it because I don't want anything to like make me feel bad about myself. But I think that is a little bit ahead of the game when you're only 6 months pregnant. But the really great thing about the midwife that I have right now is that when she kind of senses that I'm having a problem with my weight, she reminds me that, you know, everybody carries their pregnancies differently. It's always different with your second pregnancy. And that my midwife herself gained, like, I think she said 80 pounds in her second pregnancy, or even her first one, I don't know. And just little comments like that make me not feel so bad, because I didn't really have that in my first pregnancy. My midwives were always like, what are you eating, Andrea? You need to be more careful. And this time around, she's just kind of like respecting the fact that I know what I'm doing. I'm in complete control, but ultimately I'm just going to eat whatever I want. So the weight gain isn't fun, but like I said, I'm trying to just cater to whatever my body wants in the moment, because there's always time to work on it later on. And I'm just trying to enjoy my last pregnancy as much as possible. I am experiencing what I think is Braxton Hicks. I never had any with my pregnancy with Aubrey. Actually, I think I had one. Literally just one practice contraction. I don't know if this is true or not. Probably not, because every pregnancy and labor and delivery is completely different for everybody, even for one person from baby to baby. But I just think it's kind of coincidental that I never had any Braxton Hicks or practice contractions with my pregnancy with Aubrey, and then ultimately I ended up needing to be induced, and my body never went into active labor on its own. The fact that I'm having these like sensations or these practice contractions or these Braxton Hicks now with this pregnancy actually gives me a lot of hope, and I'm getting really excited, because I'm hoping that my body just naturally goes into labor on its own. Even if I'm like a week overdue, I don't care. I want to be able to have that experience, because I am going through a midwife. I am pursuing a natural birth. I would love nothing more than to have a water birth, but all of that needs to happen with my body going into active labor on its own. So fingers crossed that this is a really good sign. But I am having what feels like small random little practice contractions. My stomach will just kind of get tight for a few seconds, and then it'll sort of relax. Nothing that's like alarming or makes me think like, oh my god, I need to tell my midwife, because they are literally so minimal and they go away pretty quickly. But I feel like I get them almost every day now. I am going to be mindful of it though, because I know that if I am like not staying hydrated combined with the summer heat, that could actually send me into preterm labor. So I do need to be careful and pay attention to it. But other than that, I think it's just kind of normal for this part of my pregnancy. I actually started experiencing these feelings when I was like early 5 months pregnant, and I thought it was a little bit too early, but you could have them like as early as 18 weeks or something like that. But I think it's really cool, because like I said, it makes me very hopeful for a really cool labor and delivery experience. But as far as that staying hydrated part, I will also admit that I am having so much trouble with my water intake. There were a couple of, maybe even like a week or so, especially after we got back from our cruise, that I was having a really hard time keeping up with my water, which makes me so mad, because in my last pregnancy update, I was finally able to say that like, okay, I'm drinking almost 2 of these huge 64-ounce gallons of water a day, which is exactly what I knew I needed to be doing, what my midwife has been trying to get me to do. And I said before that the thing that was working for me was setting an alarm on my phone to literally remind me to go and drink water, because if I don't feel thirsty, I'm just not gonna make myself drink it. And I had finally consistently done that for about a week or 2 maybe, and it felt great. But then of course I went on vacation, and I didn't really drink any soda on the vacation. Actually, on the cruise, I think you have to pay for soda or something like that. But I did drink a lot of like cute little fruity mocktails, and just kind of like forgot about the water. I even brought the jug with me and had ice water in my stateroom the entire time, but hardly drank from it. And because I broke that really good habit of drinking water, I kind of just like fell off the wagon when I got back home and I stopped drinking as much as I needed to. I'm trying to get back into the habit, but there were a couple of days when I just literally didn't drink any water at all, and I know that that's awful. I guess the one good thing that I can take from the Florida heat is that it makes me incredibly thirsty. So every single day I refill that bad boy with ice water and I drink it all throughout the day. I'm not back up to the point where I'm drinking almost 2 a day, but I am really trying, and I've had to go back to setting the alarm for every 30 minutes to remind me. So hopefully I'll get back on track with that, and it'll make sure that I'm staying perfectly hydrated, that I avoid any swelling, which I have not had a problem with thus far. I'm also not having any like stretching sensations in my skin yet at this point. I have a lot of stretch marks right around my waist, all the way around, and a lot on my legs from my pregnancy with Aubrey, but I didn't get any of them until I was 8 months pregnant, and I hate them. I hate my stretch marks. I wish I was one of those women who like wore them proudly. I think that they're beautiful in every other woman, but I absolutely hate them. But they are unavoidable. The only thing that can really help is staying hydrated. You can try all the oils you want, but it's really just like biology and how elastic your skin is. So I'm gonna do whatever I can to prevent getting any more. I'll be fine if I just keep the ones that I have and try not to add to it. So the last thing I want to touch on is everything that we covered in my appointment with the dermatologist. So as I mentioned before, last year, later in the year, I started to experience some hair loss in the back of my head, and I've shared a couple of pictures of that, but basically it started out the size of a quarter and just very quickly started to increase. My husband and I's cruise was the weekend of like May 3rd through the 6th or something like that, and my appointment with the dermatologist was on May 2nd. So of course I didn't have enough time to sit down and record what the results were. But basically she told me exactly what I thought it was. It's officially diagnosed as alopecia areata. And by definition, that is sudden hair loss that starts with one or more circular bald patches that may overlap, and it occurs when the immune system attacks hair follicles and may be brought on by severe stress. So I will very quickly say that the year 2018, basically from start to finish, was one of the most stressful years of my entire life for many different reasons. There were a couple of really great moments, but for the most part, it was one of the hardest years of my life. I went through a lot of really hard times, and so the fact that it resulted in this hair loss, once explained to me, made a lot of sense. I had never heard of alopecia areata before, but once I started to do my own research and then it was confirmed by the dermatologist, it completely made sense with everything I went through last year. I think this started right around September or October of last year, and because I got pregnant in December, it kind of went from, okay, you know, I have this hair loss, I don't really know when it started, but it's, you know, very small and manageable, to all of a sudden it was like more and more of my hair was falling out every single day because of the pregnancy hormones. So she did explain to me and reassure me that like 95 or 96% of her patients and patients everywhere that go through this, the hair loss eventually stops on its own and your hair grows back on its own. So it is very temporary, even though it's technically an autoimmune disease that has no cure. My hair had already started growing back. I was just unaware of it because I'm not able to like just straight look at the back of my head. I can kind of see it if I take a picture or if I look in a mirror. But while we were on the cruise, my husband took a closer look at it and he said that my hair, it's actually growing back in quite a few small places within the bald spot. So because I'm pregnant, there wasn't a whole lot that they could do, or she just couldn't give me the same treatments that she would give somebody who isn't currently pregnant or breastfeeding. But they did prescribe me a topical solution, so I have to put that on the bald spot twice a day, so once in the morning and once at night. And basically it's like the consistency of water. Like, it's not a cream or anything. It kind of has the smell of rubbing alcohol, but not as intense, and it doesn't burn or anything like that. But I just kind of soak a cotton ball and I rub it directly on the spot where I have no hair, okay, where I've lost hair, and also in the surrounding areas around it where the hair had been starting to thin out from the hair loss. And I've been on it for 3 weeks now, doing it twice daily. There are a few days here and there where I forget to do it or I don't do it at night. So I'm not as consistent with it as I should be, but I have been taking comparison pictures. I took one the night that I started the medication right before I put it on, and I've taken a picture every Thursday or Friday night so that I can compare from week to week how much progress is being made. Eventually I'll make a separate video covering all of this and my journey with this once I have significant hair growth. But as I'm looking at the pictures every single week, I'm noticing a huge difference. Even with this prescription that is gentle, so to speak, because of my pregnancy, it is already making a lot of progress with my hair growth. So basically the next step is to come back and see her towards the end of my pregnancy to see how well this medication is working for me and to see if it's necessary to either up the prescription or go a different route after I have the baby. The number one thing that they normally do for alopecia is injections. And of course, that is not something I'm able to do when I'm pregnant. But in the meantime, she was going to verify if whether or not it's safe while breastfeeding. If it's not, then I will just have to put it off because, of course, breastfeeding is not something I'm willing to postpone or forego just for the sake of having my hair grow back, because obviously my hair is already growing back on its own. But fingers crossed that I'm able to get the injections, because of course the stronger the medication I can receive, the thicker and faster my hair will grow back. And obviously that's what every girl and woman wants, is to not be bald and not have thin hair when they're not even 30 years old. So that's basically where we stand right now with my diagnosis and everything that the dermatologist said. I am going to just wait this out. Hopefully my hair will grow back strong and healthy, and until then I'm just gonna let it do whatever it naturally wants to do, and hopefully that will just help with keeping it healthy and lesson learned. But with that diagnosis and explaining to me that it was just basically extreme stress induced, made a lot of sense, and I'm glad that I have answers and that there is a solution to the hair loss, because it was very, very scary. But that is it for my pregnancy update. I think I'm finally going to show you a bump shot so you can see what I'm working with these days. My next midwife appointment is on June 18th. I'll be about 27 weeks pregnant, but at my next appointment we're doing the testing for gestational diabetes, and I want to make sure that I'm able to include any information from that appointment. So that's the next time I'll come with a pregnancy update. Hopefully in the meantime I have time to record and upload another video so that we don't completely go missing for the next month. But I do really appreciate your patience with me. If you have been enjoying my pregnancy updates so far, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment down below, and a thumbs up. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!